And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit, like God's property. It's hard to market, so we steady to aim, keep your eyes on target. Cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight, 'cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the
Black people can't be anti-Semitic. We are Jew. You understand what I'm saying? We are Jew. So cool out until you do your facts. Until you really do the facts with the fake indoctrination that y'all put into the schools and all that. You know what I'm saying? We're not following y'all rules.
The entire Bible is about black people. Not only was Jesus black, but every character in the Bible seems to be black too. Yeah, Zephaniah and Jeremiah and Jebediah, those all aren't white people names, okay? And Jesus wasn't some tan, partially melanated Middle Eastern person either. I'm talking straight up black dude, okay? Even in the book of Revelation, when you get the vision of Daniel, he's describing someone with feet like burnt brass and white woolly hair, and we've got the deep running water voice with the red eyes, and you guys, he's black. The Jewish people are black people, like Kanye was right.
I'm so glad you're here because you can bring great clarity. Can you tell us a little bit about the Sephardic Jews and how they were scattered because they went west?
I sure can.
Because the reason why I want to is because a lot of them, and a lot of people don't know this, are in the Caribbean.
They are.
In the islands.
And you're one of them. I know that.
I'm one of them.
I know that.
Because, you know, a lot of folk don't know that those roots are there. One of the first batches of slaves that came to Jamaica, they were the Sephardic Jews. It's documented.
And they're all over the Caribbean, South America, Central America, and even the South Central United States.
Wow.
And DNA testing is a factor in all this now.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient Israelite, that's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
but
already he said,
no, we don't have
so many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of notes. And I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews?
Hitler was, and the Nazis, of course, expanded on Margaret Sanger's approach to eugenics, right? Eugenics was a movement that was born in the United States under hard doctrines of racism with the intent of eliminating the tribe of Judah in the African American community in this country, right? To eliminate them.
This world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
They don't pay rent. The city doesn't have it's a chain of events that's so bad. One rough hour, and I mean real rough, the word will get out and it will end immediately. End immediately. You know, it'll end immediately. We are the party of common sense. I knew that once they had open borders, all of the countries, I didn't think about all over the world. I thought in South America, it's all over the world. Last week, a lot of people came in from the Congo, a big prison in the Congo in Africa. Welcome to the United States. They came in from the Congo. They came in from the Congo. They came.
Without getting too semantic, or at the risk of getting too semantic, does it matter that the Jews are not Semites, or does this phrase anti-Semitism just means hatred for the Jewish people? They're Ashkenazi, they're Eastern European Jews.
So we're supposed to we're just being told that anti-Semitism is now criticizing Israel. Anti-Semitism is anything they want it to be. They can't even define it. They admit in this bill that they've passed through the House that there's really truly no actual protection for Jews, but they're just making it up as they go because they want to say, well, but Semites, which we shouldn't even be using that word anymore because most Jews who practice the religion of Judaism or who are culturally Jewish, even if they don't practice the Jewish religion, but they're culturally Jewish, like many are culturally Christian. Many of us celebrate Christmas, but we're not Christian. That's cultural Christianity. It is what it is, right? They can't define it. They're putting all these rules on us. We shouldn't even allow them to use the term anti-Semitism. It's not real. Most of these Jews are not Semites.
You can convert to Judaism. You can't convert to a blood family. You cannot convert to a race. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is. Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
Judaism is a religion. That's all it is.
A bunch of Aryan-looking people that comes from Eastern Europe and pretends that God gave them the land 2,000, 3,000 years ago. Right? And oh no, we're the real Jews.
Should we do that on camera?
Absolutely. Sure. So to let you know, this is the birth certificate of Donald Trump's grandfather, born in 1869, close to Bad Dürkheim.
Right?
Yeah.
That's called
and
serious.
his Christian name was Friedrich.
Right? That's serious German.
Serious German name.
That's serious. Bad Dürkheim is serious German. But I want to thank you very much for, first of all, I want to thank you for that. That's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you again.
Fantastic. Put it up in a place of honor.
There are Ashkenazi Jews who are entirely European in their DNA. That's why you're not allowed to have a DNA test in Israel, because it will reveal that virtually none of them are Semitic, virtually none of them have any ancestral connection to the land. I was viciously assaulted by a manager in the BBC who had recently converted to Judaism. It's fine. I love all religions. But you can't say I've now converted to Judaism and therefore I have a right to go to the land of Palestine and live in the house of someone whose ancestors have been living in it for thousands of years.
Here's what I would like to say to you, Rabbi, since you're quoting scripture, okay? The one that's relevant to me is woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness. And if you'd like to dive into a little more scripture, I think what's relevant is Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley. Revelation 3:9. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
Revelation 3:9, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie.
And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley. And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
And I'm speaking directly to you, Rabbi Shmuley.
The fact that you
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you.
I want to say peace and blessings to you guys. I know this is a unscheduled live. I know I'm going to get better with this. Things have just really been hectic, and my apologies for the delay. Got caught up trying to put this presentation together, and it took a lot longer, and I still didn't get it all together. So we're going to get through as much as we can tonight. We're going to have to probably break this up, not probably, but we will break this up into two parts. So let me make sure my camera's straight. All right, there we go. Yeah. Like I said, I was trying to put this presentation together in terms of the PowerPoint, and it was just taking a lot of time. And I wanted to have some videos to go along with this, but I didn't have time to do the video edits because, again, the presentation itself, it's pretty detailed, and you guys know like how I do my presentations. I like to really give you guys sources, and I really like to give you a lot of information to really connect the dots here. So again, want to say Shalom Lak Mash Paka. Hope and pray all is well with you guys. I'm going to drop the link inside the comment section. I see Sister Carol in the building. Want to say shout outs to you, Sister Carol. I'll drop the link if you want to jump on. Not sure if Berean Scholar is in the building, but I'll drop the link if you guys want to jump on. You feel free to do so. And again, family, I want to thank you guys for 100,000 subscribers. And actually, one of the people I really want to give a special shout out to is Sister Carol. Sister Carol been following me before I even started doing the YouTube thing. And she was following me on Facebook. And she saw firsthand what Facebook was doing. I mean, it had a pretty large following on Facebook, some viral videos, starting with the Black Lives Matter. And, YouTube began to do all kinds of things to my page, throttling the bandwidth, and then also kicking me off within minutes of doing a live. So I got ready to just say, hey, forget it. I was going to leave it alone. And Sister Carol made the recommendation, was like, hey, you need to take this stuff over to YouTube. And she was correct. You know what I mean? And so I want to give a special shout outs. Before I get started, I'm going to bring on Sister Carol's here in the backstage, and I see Berean Scholar as well. So let me go ahead and bring these guys in. All right. Want to say peace and blessings to you, Sister Carol. Also want to say peace and blessings to you, Berean Scholar. And really appreciate you guys for jumping on. And Berean Scholar, you and I talked earlier. I was trying to get it in, man. I was trying to get it in. And like I said, this is when you're doing this type of, presentation is very in-depth. It's very detailed oriented. And what connecting the dots. So, but before we get started, Sister Carol in the building.
Peace and blessing, my brother. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
That's right. Keep rising to the top, right?
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, like I was sharing with the people that you pretty much been there from the beginning. As far as when I was on Facebook and you got to witness the things that Facebook was doing.
Oh yeah, you had your information and what you were teaching back in those days of the Facebook world was too powerful to be landing in such a small spot, and how social media is, especially on that particular platform, is so restrictive in how they were acting, especially back then. And you needed a bigger ocean of water to swim in, and you were swimming in little kiddie pools and trying to get out the kiddie pool to get to the lake, and it just wasn't happening. And I knew the Most High had something. It was a special anointing on you that needed to go further out to reach further, much more masses of people because of the type of teaching that you were doing. And when I saw YouTube, I saw other people, and I said, "This is where he needs to be. We can connect and move, and it has the algorithm to move you where you need to go, unlike Facebook." And I'm glad the Most High put that upon me to tell you, and you listened and you were obedient to it.
I was hard headed. You know, I didn't
I
do it
know. I had, and
immediately.
I had to slap you a couple of times.
Hey,
What you
watch
got
out
to
now.
do?
Watch out now. Watch out now. But no, I was, I wasn't,
We were locked down. Remember, we was in
yeah,
COVID. We had nothing
yeah.
else to do.
But and the thing about it, family, I'm a computer geek. I'm a geek all right, well rounded. But social media just wasn't my thing. You know, most geeks are not on social media,
Right.
believe it or not. And social media just wasn't my thing. And Facebook, it was like pulling tooth and nails to do Facebook.
Right.
And then remember, I was doing a channel with my cousin, Pastor Carr, who's up in Massachusetts. For those that are up in that area, uh, and YouTube locked me out of a joint count that we had.
Sure did.
Remember couldn't get into it. Tried everything.
Wow.
And so I was just like, all right, and remember I started 2 other YouTube channels and same thing happened within 100 subscribers. So I was like, all right, well, I guess, it is what it is. But then Sister Carol was like, hey, you gotta do this,
Yep.
with the type of information that I'm teaching.
Right. These
That'll
kind
be
of
very helpful.
taggings, right, to get your
Yeah.
algorithm going. I
So
learned the algorithm quickly and said, okay, go back, tag this in there, tag this, tag that. And when you did that, it started moving.
well, the biggest thing was it seemed like the more they were suppressing me,
Yeah.
the more it was drawing
Oh, yeah.
attention. And then,
Yeah.
like I was telling Berean Scholar, that was also like a melting pot because it was a lot of, how can I put it, opposition that we were getting. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that opposition too, they were, they were bringing the negativity to the discussion, but they was
Right.
actually helping the channel grow.
Exactly.
So it was so much that we had to deal with, so much. But I thank you guys. I thank you, Sister Carol, for the love and support. And I just confirmed the plaque earlier today, so they'll be
Oh,
sending the plaque
awesome.
out. Because they had to do the verification to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that they got this way of making sure that you're not buying likes and buying views and
Oh, yeah.
paying for subscribers, all those different things.
Right.
So they did all their checks, and so they just confirmed. So I went on and got the initial plaque, and then a courtesy plaque, and then I ordered a couple of extra ones, so that way, you deserve one. You know what I mean? Because
Yes.
you've been there, so I want to make sure you get one.
Aw.
So yeah. So I
That's good.
ordered a couple of plaques for the crew. You know what I mean? But again, I really appreciate you guys for the love and support. And lastly, Berean Scholar, he's officially he got his tags.
Yeah,
He
that's
got a
right.
strike.
All
He got his
right.
tags, so he officially
Woo-hoo! On your
is.
way.
Yeah, he's on his
That is
way,
something
man.
else. That is something
You in
else.
the joint, man. You in the joint. You
Yeah,
got
man.
those stripes
And
in the joint, my boy.
I
Yeah.
was like, when he told me they what they did to him, I was like, you got your wings now.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
now you
Sister
officially
Carol,
arrived.
You in the
Sister
joint.
Carol, Sister
Uh-huh.
Carol,
You
you
got
gonna
street
eat your
cred.
you gonna eat your cornbread.
Don't nobody gonna touch my cornbread.
Is Sister Carol, remember, and we'll get started here in a second, family. But remember, Sister Carol, remember how like I told Berean Scholar, I was getting locked down almost
Mhm.
every month
Oh yeah.
to the point that I had to use the whatchamacallit as my intro when I come out of
Oh
lockdown.
yeah.
What's that?
I almost said it. Wait a minute. It's made, and the
Uh,
movie was made here in Houston.
yeah. Now I can't think of the name of it too.
It comes to me in a minute. I almost said
With
it.
Jada Pickett in it.
Yep.
Jason Lyric.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. I was doing. That would be my intro. It's like every time you turn around, I was getting placed in. You know, the pen, so to speak.
Got locked down in TDCJ,
Yeah.
Texas Department of Correction and Justice.
Yeah. So every week, it was like always almost monthly. I would just, pop back on the scene and
Right.
show that clip and remember one time they had me locked down for almost 6 months
Yeah, that was real
and didn't
crazy.
tell me why,
Mm-mm.
just locked me down. So, but with that being said, I want to say thank you guys again. Like I say over and over again, had it not been for all of you guys, my wife and I will just be taking a walk by ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not just me. It's all of you. It's Sister Carol. Like I said, she's been the road dog, so to speak, for what it's hard to believe it's been what 8 or 9 years. Must
5
be more than
years.
5 years. No, I'm talking about since you and I connected on
Oh
Facebook.
yeah, that's been. Oh my gosh, what was
Yeah,
that?
it's been almost 10 years.
10 years. Yeah, plus 10 years.
And and then transitioning over here. Yeah, it's been 5 years. I think it was 6 years when I created the account, but
Mm-hmm.
remember I still wasn't
Right.
using it,
Right.
and then finally I started using it
So you had
after
like
being
what?
a hardhead.
You had like 690 something subscribers then, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, like I said, Brian Scholar, you now it's official. You got your, you're a made man now. you know,
You know,
you go ahead.
after hearing what you're saying, I just have to give honors to Sister Carol, because if she wasn't obedient and telling you what to do, people like myself and all the people I'm getting an opportunity to talk to who are sharing their testimony wouldn't have been affected by this awakening. So thank you,
Oh
Sister
man.
Carol, because that's what brought me in. So thank you, because your obedience helped us do this. And for those who are listening right now, you don't know what you're sharing would do, or
Mm-hmm.
you're telling people about this information. You don't know how that's going to affect people. People are being affected because they hear the truth. Now, if we were
Correct.
on here just cussing and just talk about nothing, he probably have 250,000, because they don't
Right.
care about that. But the algorithm and the people of the bee try to stop the truth from getting out. So thank you guys for being faithful. Thank you guys for being consistent. And thank you, Sister Carol, for being obedient.
Amen.
I'm on. Well, family, we got a lot to cover tonight. I know we're not going to get through everything, but I want to lay the foundation. We'll have to break this up into two parts, and then that way, matter of fact, we'll continue this tomorrow night, and by that time, I'll have the full presentation complete, and I'll have my video clips to really help bring home the points that I'm going to make as we continue to progress in this. But tonight, we're going to lay the foundation. And I know some of you guys are probably trying to figure out how am I going to connect the dots between, as you see here, the spirit of Eglon, right, all the way to Jeffrey Epstein's and Donald Trump. How are we going to connect the dot, right? And we started this series a couple of months ago and did it for about a month and a half, doing the series called The Cult of Baal. And in this series, we've been unpacking so much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start off by showing you the actual diagram that has, you know, the I would say the whole structure, a lot of information that's on it. So let me go ahead and zoom in. Let me pull it up here. All right, and all right. So what is the cult of Baal? And this is the diagram. This is their tree of life, and you'll see this diagram across multiple different mystical systems. You'll see it in Hinduism. You'll see it in you have Egyptian mysticism. You'll see this in Judaism, for us the Kabbalah, and there they refer to this as the Ten Sifra, which ultimately points to their Ein Sof, whom they refer to as the Infinite One. And so, not going into all the details of this here, um, and but at the same time, just kind of give you guys an idea of what prompted me to go here, right? To really get into this lesson. Let me go back here. So you see two pillars here. You see Baal worship, human sacrifice, and there's a lot of notes that's on this diagram here. And maybe if we have enough time, and Brian Scholar, if you want, you could drop the link inside the chat with the PDF, a clean PDF. And for those that want to peep it out, do so if you want to follow along. I mean, this is a great source because it has so much information on it in connecting
Okay.
these dots. So as you can see here, this is the head. This is the shoulders, right? This is when you start really understanding how to read these type of diagrams. So these are the horns. And as you see, human sacrifice on one horn, Baal worship on the other. So it's a lot to go off, a lot to unpack here. I'll start with you, Berean Scholar, and then follow up with you, Sister Carol. Any comments you guys have?
When you go through this PDF and see all the organization names, title, groups, you see the connect how they came that confederate against us. You see all the people who are fighting to oppress us as a people throughout the centuries.
Absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Sister Carol, any comments?
Just want to say you can clearly see from this diagram the connections of the beast.
Yes.
Everybody's asking, oh, the beast is this, oh, the beast is that, oh, this is the beast. No, all these entities and sources and organizations and people, everything that we're seeing on the screen right now, that whole entire diagram is the beast. And we've been living inside of the guts of it, trying our best to survive to get to the end among all of this stuff. And the more we unpacked who's been involved in it, it makes you look at things differently, make you look at people differently, make you look at everything differently from what we were taught. And we have to unpack all that stuff that was packed inside our brains now and into our system because it has infected us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And family, I want you guys to make a note. Those you guys that are watching, I want you to make a note here. You see, sons of Belial.
Mhm.
That's important because we're going to touch on that in this lesson, right? Sons of Belial. Just get an idea of just how this chart, or should I say, this diagram connects the dots. You could look at all the different references, the notes that you see within here. You see cannibalism, but the thing that right at the top here is sons of Belial, and we're going to explain that as we progress in this lesson. Anything else, Sister Karen Berean Scholar?
I was going to say this, it talks about Baal in scripture so much, and we didn't understand the depths of it. This diagram shows you the depths of that demon and what it has comprised and its source and its system and its people that keeps it moving. We just took it for granted for what it really is, and it's been living with us the whole entire time. And it has generations and generations of people that has birthed from it that keeps it going among us.
Exactly, exactly. And the key here, too, I want to point out as we get into it here, because the key to understanding the cult of Baal is perversion, as Sister Carol pointed out
Mhm.
about Baal and the worship of Ashereth. You're dealing with sexual rituals.
Yes.
All of that entails sexual rituals. And I know most of us, when we look at or hear the term sexual rituals, you'll just think of like perversions between a man and a woman. But it goes a lot deeper than that. You'll see homosexuality, it entails that. It entails pedophilia, pederasty, and it tells bestiality. I mean, all of those things. That's what this worship of Baal entails. All right. So just want to make sure you guys understand that human sacrifice
Mhm.
from adults all the way down to children. Now you'll see that inside the scriptures, uh, pointing out or making it clear that Israelites should not be engaging in any sacrificing of children. But it goes a lot further, a lot deeper, and we want to cover some of that tonight. So again, really appreciate everyone for tuning in, and we'll go. We'll do a refresher. We'll do a refresher tomorrow night. Uh, just for the sake of time, but also for some of you guys that may be joining this lesson, kind of almost in the middle of it, and you really don't have the foundational understanding of where we are. It's like almost like coming in the middle of a conversation. I would encourage you guys go back over and look at some of the previous videos on the the sun. Excuse me, the cult of Baal, several lessons we did on this, so much information that we unpacked. But we'll do kind of like a refresher on this tomorrow night as we build. All right. So uh what does the Bible actually say about Baal worship? And excuse the typo here. Like I said, I was trying to put this together, so I really didn't have time to go back over and spell check. So blame Berean scholar for that. So I got to blame someone. So I'll blame Berean scholars. So, what does the Bible actually say about Baal worship? And uh, family, most really don't understand the depth of just that influence of Baal, the worship of Baal. I can say with extreme confidence, right, a high level of confidence that Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, uh, Islam, all the so-called Abrahamic faiths promotes the worship of Baal. All of them. So what does the Bible say about the worship of Baal? Well, let's start with Deuteronomy chapter 23, starting at verse 17. And this is going to deal with perversions, right? This is what I really want to unpack here. And Sister Carol, you probably recognize some of this when I taught this when I was on Facebook. And if you remember, it caused a lot of, actually, it drew a lot of attention
Mhm.
because of me teaching. Uh, remember, I did the lesson about the Shekinah
Right.
and proving that the Holy Spirit is not feminine. So you probably remember some of this here. But Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 17 and 18. This is what's really key. There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. Now, the Hebrew word that you will see there, and I'm going to tell you this is a terrible transliteration. I can tell you that emphatically. This is a terrible transliteration. You see the word quadasha. Quadasha is only used for a female. But then you see sodomite, you see quadash. And see, family, language is so important. It's the three pillars, right? And remember, we taught on how Revelation gave the prophecy about how this beast is going to control our language,
Mhm.
going to control our culture, going to control our territory. Language is so important. So it says here, there shall be no quadasha of the daughters of Israel, nor a Quadash of the sons of Israel. Now, the transliterations place whore for the men, sodomite whore for the women, sodomite for the men. And I'm gonna break this down here. This is why when I was going over the notes, I was like, I gotta explain these things. I can't just brush over it. So I got to make sure that when I really walk you guys through to understand the details of just how deep this deception goes, especially some of you guys that have been part of some of the Hebrew languages that the Hebrew language sessions that I've taught. You see that they've left no stone unturned. In fact, and I'll give you a little nugget here about how important language is and how corrupt the 1948ers is. They have no regards for the holy language.
Mm-mm.
And guess what? On what's that? On X, they had to restrict Hebrew, which they want to call it Hebrew, is really not Hebrew, but posts in the Israeli language on X because so much hate speech was hidden under those Hebrew, so-called Hebrew language that they want to make you believe that it's Hebrew. And they found, they saw that most people don't know how to read Hebrew, or that Israeli language rather. It's not Hebrew. But they had a lot of hate comments that was loaded up in that Syriac block letter language, and so they had to restrict it. They had to put a restriction on the language on X. That was announced a couple of days ago on X. So they have no respect, no regards on the ancient language. They have no regards, no respect for our Most High. They have no respect for anything that the Most High is designated and set aside to be holy. Any comments, guys, before we continue?
Oh, absolutely. It is, they are. That's why they created everything that they have now. They created their own language. They created their own Torah, and they created their own land. Anything to be us, anti-Semitic, and put it back on their word. They are truly anti-Semitic,
And also,
anti-Torah, anti-Yahweh.
if you do some dive into some history, you'll see how their tendencies and their culture promotes all this perversion
Yes,
and stuff that they put in the translation. They want to corrupt everything having to do with the Most High, His people, and anybody who believes in His people. They want to corrupt it.
that's correct.
Yeah. And so I was trying to pull up a article here, but here I'll drop it in. How X got into a muddle over inflammatory posts in Hebrew.
Not shocked.
And family, I did a lesson, especially when I deal with the Hebrew language. I point out some key letters that they have profaned, and made into a slang. So I'll drop the link here for just so that way you guys can read up on this. That's why language is so important, and constantly getting confirmation from whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Google's AI. All of them are confirming what the true ancient language is. All right, but anyway, let's keep it going here. So it says here, there shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. For whore, you see the word quadash. For the word sodomite, you see quadash. So let's break this down. Let's unpack this here. All right. Verse 18, thou shalt not bring the hire of a zawana, in other words, whore. And that's what's really interesting. Zawana or zana, right? You'll see that word is actually the Hebrew word for whore. But for the word quadash, you guys already know even unpacking that, many of you guys that say Kodesh. Kodesh is not the primitive root word. Kodesh is not even the ancient. That's not an ancient word. That's the Israeli modification of the actual primitive root word, and we'll get to that in a second. All right. But nevertheless, thou shalt not bring the hire of a whore or the price of a dog into the house of Yahweh, thy Elohim, for any vow. For even both these are abominations unto Yahweh, thy Elohim. So Israel joined, they were so joined to the Baal Peor through the ritual fornication to the point that the Most High, when you read, for example, Numbers chapter 25, actually starting at chapter 24, actually you could go back to chapter 22, but you'll see that the Most High had to allow a uncurable venereal disease the men died from. Of course, you'll see it's called the pestilence or a plague, but they died from a venereal disease that was incurable. Like 25,000 of them, because of they began to engage in the rituals of Baal Peor. All right. So Numbers chapter 25, verse 1 through 3, it reads, and Israel abode in Shittim, and the people began, Kala began, in other words, profaned. The people profaned, right? Uh, and they began to indulge in whoredom, as you see here, Zana Wath. That's the Hebrew word there, but it's Zana. Wath is the plurality of it. So this was a continuous thing. And it says, with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto sacrifices, in other words, Zabak, of their deities. And the people did eat and bow down to their deities. So when you read the previous chapter, you'll see how Balaam and the king of Moab, they was coming up with a scheme on how can they make Israel look bad in the sight of the Most High. So they came up with a scheme of saying that they'll have their women seduce the men in our community. Doesn't that sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Sound familiar, right?
Yep.
That was their game plan. It was like they're going to use their women, and they're going to use their women to seduce the men and get them into idol worshiping, get them into doing all kinds of sexual perversions. All right. Verse 3. And Israel joined himself into Baal Pa'awar, or that's the ancient pronunciation of it, but Baal Peor, and the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Israel. Right, and then, like I said, if you read more of the text, you see the judgment here, and then you'll see how Phineas got a name above all names at that time as being the high priest and the promise made to him. But you see here it says, and those who died in the plague were 20 and 4,000. Right. So in a nutshell, that was a incurable sexual disease. Right.
Right.
So who is Baal Pure? Let's give a little context behind who this deity is among the Babylonians and some of these other different systems, because the Romans, they took this system and they just put their different names on it, But anyway, it says here, Lord of the Cleft, Phoenician phallic god coupled with Asherah's Yanni Cleft. So when you see this, right, this is sexual rituals. It's telling you phallic. This is phallic worship or phallus worship. So this is when it says Phoenician phallic god coupled with Asherah's Yannick cleft. Now this is basically in a nutshell stating a sexual ritual, and that's where you also get that hexagram from. The hexagram is nothing more than a symbol of sexual rituals. So it says Israelites adopted this cult and celebrated sexual rites in honor of in the tabernacle until Yahweh's reformers killed the celebrants. And you have it on November 25th. Baal Peor's symbol was a palm tree. And so Numbers 20, the 25th chapter, it was, and this is giving clarity to this, it was Phineas who triggered really triggered the opposition and really what caused the Most High to stop, right? Because over 24,000 men had died, but it was because what really gave Phineas the reputation in the favor with the Most High is you had a man and a woman, one of the Israelite men, along with a Moabite woman. They began to have intercourse in front of everyone, in front of the tabernacle, and while everyone is mourning, just doesn't that sound familiar?
Yep. Oh yeah.
I mean, they literally having sex in front of everyone out in the opening. Here it is, they mourning over the death of all these people, and these people, this man and woman decided that they were just going to go there, and so Phineas killed them with a spear. I encourage you guys to go back over and read the full chapter, but actually you're going to have to start in like chapter 22 and work your way up to chapter 25 to get the full context of what took place. All right. So it goes on to say Baal Peor's symbol was a palm tree. So make a note of the palm tree because the palm tree is also synonymous with the Christmas tree.
Exactly. I was just getting ready to say that.
You know, so in the palm tree, I didn't put the images here, but when we did one of the lessons when we was dealing with the name in the cult of Baal, I shared with you guys an image of the palm tree, right? And that was part of sexual rituals. So when you read Jeremiah, for example, chapter 2, Israel was referred to as a degenerate plant because they were doing all kinds of things on every high hill, under every green tree. They were doing all kinds of sexual rituals. Then when you get to chapter 7, it places the point of emphasis on that as well. But by the time you get to chapter 10, now instead of going to these high hills, now they're bringing this tree, they're bringing this palm, they're bringing this inside their homes. And now under those trees, they are having sexual rituals, performing sexual rituals. All right. So Baal Peor symbol was a palm tree. So between two stones, a male genital symbol recalling the phallic god of Egypt, in other words, Osiris men, whose worshippers prayed to achieve. I'm not going to get into that, but we adults here, you guys see it on the screen, but like a palm tree. And that's the whole symbol behind a palm tree. All right. So who is Baal Peor? Or it should say, how is Baal Peor connected to the worship of the palm tree? So again, family, excuse the typos because I didn't have a chance to go back over and proofread. So, but how is Baal Peor connected to the worship of the palm tree? And what is the significance of the palm tree? I gave you some of the information here, but let's take it a step further. Traditions of Eden, proof of the historical truth of the Pentateuch. Page 163. Look at what it says. The Christmas tree, now so common among us, was equally common in Rome and Egypt. In Egypt, the tree was the palm tree. In Rome, it was the fir or fern, right? The palm tree denoting the pagan Messiah as Baal Tamar. The fir referring to him as Baal Berith, in other words, the Lord of the Covenant, because Berith comes from the ancient Hebrew word Barayath, which means covenant. So in the Babylonian system, Lord of the Covenant. All right. So Tamar signifies a palm tree, and Baal Tamar, the Lord of the palm tree. The Baal Berith, which was also one of the titles of the pagan Messiah, signifying Lord of the Covenant, was almost identical with Baal Berith, which signifies Lord of the fir tree. It was just another instance of that jugglery of words by which the cunning priests of Chaldea mystified the common people in order to further their own craft. That the word Baal Berith, in other words, Lord of the Covenant, was represented as Baal Bereth, Lord of the Fir Tree. Hence, the fir tree became a symbol of the Babylonian false Messiah. The palm tree was the well-known symbol of victory, and the title Lord of the Palm Tree was apparently given to the pagan Messiah in accordance with the tradition of the primeval promise that the Messiah, in other words, the seed of the woman, should bruise the serpent's head or be victorious over the serpent, that is the devil. All right, so who is Baal Tamar? Who is Baal Berith? These deities are directly connected to the worship of the palm tree. All right, here's the palm tree again. In the Babylonian myth, the primal garden of the primal garden, excuse me, the palm tree was the tree of life, a dwelling place for the goddess Astarte. The Hebrew version of her name was Tamar, in other words, palm tree. Her male counterpart was Baal Peor, or Phoenix, the god of the Phoenicians, whose name meant land of the palm. And we're going to show something on that here. A phallic deity, Baal Peor, was symbolized by a palm tree between two large stones. Sexual orgies in the temple celebrated his union with the goddess of Phoenicia and in Israel until priests of Yahweh killed the celebrants in the midst of their rites. And again, this was Phineas. All right. Any comments, guys, before I continue?
No, keep going, brother.
Yep.
So the worship of Baal Berith is in the scriptures. Judges chapter 8, verse 33 and 34. And it came to pass, as soon as Gideon was dead, that the children of Israel turned again, right? So you'll see this theme all through the book of Judges. Israel turning again, constantly turning away from the Most High, going after Baal, going after Asherah. They just had this tree addiction. They could not get away from these sexual perversions. But this is the pattern all through the book of Judges. You'll see multiple captivities just in the book of Judges alone, right? So, and it came to pass, as soon as Gideon was dead, the children of Israel turned again and went a whoring after Baalim and made Baal Berith their god. And the children of Israel remembered not Yahweh, their Elohim. This is what we see today.
Yes, I was getting ready to say that. Absolutely. What are we plagued with right now? All this sex trafficking, the Epstein file, foolishness.
Exactly.
Everybody hungry for Thanksgiving and Christmas. They running after the Christmas trees and indoctrinating their children to bow down to these trees and get their Christmas gifts. All this perverted stuff that we are just cannot release from.
We're brainwashed.
It's indoctrinating their DNA, and they refuse to purge it out.
And think about it, with everything that's going on, you got people, let's just start in this awakening, all about their flesh.
Yes.
Oh, got to get polygamy. What?
Yes.
Arguing polygamy?
Yes, exactly. Everything else that's going on, that's in the scripture that we're supposed to do, but you want to focus on that.
Polygamy and all kinds of, and I'm gonna say this again. You are not practicing polygamy in this country.
No.
You're just a glorified girlfriend and boyfriend.
That's it. Side chicks and side men.
Exactly. There's no benefits. But
none.
I'm going to do a special teaching on that because I haven't taught on it in a long time and show you with scripture that the Most High knocked all of that stuff down. But we'll do that another time. But
yes,
we see this happening today. You know, we're so focused on all this other stuff and not really paying attention to the things we should be paying attention to. You know, maybe that's why many of us in this community not dealing with the Epstein stuff, because we got Epsteins inside our community.
That's right. That's
exactly.
right.
Who you
Got a
telling?
lot of Epsteins inside this community. Got a lot of Epsteins inside the church. A lot of Epsteins inside we got Epsteins inside this awakening too.
And again, going back to what you said before, Pastor, if you look at the root of most of this stuff, you'll find the same people. I mean, I challenge anybody in the chat right now to Google the first transgender surgery and see who you find performing it.
No, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I want them to find it for themselves. So
Mhm.
if you're looking for yourself, we didn't just tell you that, you saw it for yourself.
Exactly.
Who run in the pornographic industries? You'll find it for yourself.
Exactly.
He's hitting it right on the nail.
And the largest.
And look what. Go ahead, sis.
I was gonna say, and the largest homosexuality community is right over there with
we
them.
know. No, don't give him a hit, because you're gonna give him a hit off of that. I wanted to catch you real quick, Sister Carol, because Berean Scholar want them to do a little research. We know what it is. I knew just what you was getting ready to say, but I just wanted to let the people do some homework, right? We can't give
do it for
everything to them.
themselves.
Sometimes they gotta participate in what we're some of these teachings, and take some of this homework and just do some research.
We are here to commentate and educate and share our cornbread.
Absolutely.
I'm sure my cornbread, get your own cornbread.
Absolutely. My mama biscuit, right? That's Martin, right?
That's Martin.
So, and the children of Israel remembered not Yahweh their Elohim. And what's so sad is Israel kept playing with this fire. By the time you get to Nehemiah, right? Because it said their children remembered not Yahweh their Elohim. By the time we get to Nehemiah, the children forgot their own language. That Nehemiah had to use translators to read Torah to them, to read the commandments to them.
Wow, that's sad.
All because of the men in their flesh chasing the very people that the Most High told them not to deal with.
And forgot everything.
I mean, look at Samson. Samson was
Oh,
addicted
yes.
to Philistine women.
Big old freak.
Strange women.
Yep.
He was addicted to it. Every time he got out of pocket, it was always one of them. Delilah, his first wife. Well, his one wife, because he only married once. His wife, how she betrayed him. She was part of that community. The whore, or the prostitute rather, and Delilah.
Yep.
And guess what, family? He was a judge of Israel, which means he knew Torah. He knew the law and the prophets. And Samson wasn't some little young teenager. He wasn't some 20-year-old. He was in his he had to be at least 40, 41 years old.
No better.
Filled with the spirit of Yah.
So erase what you've been seeing in television, because television and make you think that he's some young Arnold Schwarzenegger type guy.
Mm-hmm.
No, he wasn't muscular. That's why if he was muscular, they would have been able to figure out what the source of his strength is.
Right.
So the children of Israel remembered not Yahweh, their Elohim, who had delivered them out of the hands of all their enemies on every side. Another passage I'm going to highlight here is Hosea chapter 4, verse 13 and 14, and I'll expound on this shortly. So they sacrifice, in other words, zabak, upon the tops of the mountains, burn incense upon the hills. There we have it, the hills again. Under what? Oaks. This is that pattern. Under every what? Green tree, on every high hill, they playing a harlot. And poplars and elms, because the shadow thereof is good. Therefore your daughters shall commit whoredom, zanayan, and your spouses shall commit adultery. I will not punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery, for themselves are separated with whoredom, zana, and they sacrifice with quadash wath, harlots, Yeah, we'll deal with this word in a second here. Therefore, the people that doeth not understand shall fall. So again, sons and daughters commit whoredom. That is linked to idol worshiping. That's linked to tree worship. That is linked to Astarte, and So I want to make it clear before I read the source here to you guys. I got to give you this disclaimer. I do not agree nor subscribe to any views, teachings, and other expressions of the LGBT QRSTUVWXYZ community. I'm saying that because of the source that I'm getting ready to use here. The book that I'm about to reference is used strictly to bring forth a key point about flaws in biblical translations. Now, how did I come about this source? See, whenever there's I used to do a lot of research and study on different Bibles when they came out. And you guys remember when that church down in Atlanta, also DC, that homosexual church, they call themselves having I don't know what they call it, the title, the pastor and the leading man or some crazy
First
stuff.
man.
First man, yeah. So
Yeah.
I, they had a Bible. And I was like, let me look at their Bible. Let me see how they're trying to justify what they're doing in their Bible. They got a homosexual Bible. So when I started researching the Bible and start reading it and trying to see how they're justifying their narratives, their arguments, I came across one of the books that they created within their own spaces to justify it. Right? And this is that source here. It's called Openly Gay, Openly Christian, How the Bible Really Is Gay Friendly. All right?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, family. But this is what stood out, right? Because and I'm saying this, if you are a leader, you have to study. You have to be on top of what's going on, right? You have to be in front of a lot of these narratives. And Berean scholar, you had to take pastoral care and counsel. And in
Yes.
that class, they tell you that you have to be on top of the news, the world news, everything that's going on. You have to be proactive because this is how, you have so many different things that can seep in the congregation. And if you're not on top of this stuff, you can have stuff going on that you can't even speak against because you're not knowledgeable in that area. So yeah, again, this source right here, it says openly gay, openly Christian, how the Bible really is gay friendly. But this right here is what stood out. It says it says Quadah, even though it has Quadesh here. There is a Hebrew word used in the Old Testament that we would never even look at in a discussion of homosexuality, except that one translation and one translation alone, unfortunately, mistranslates the word as sodomite. So when I saw that, I'm like, wait a minute, and I was, studying Hebrew and teaching Hebrew and all of this. So I was like, let me do some deeper dive and deeper discovery on this. And guess what? They're right. And I'm going to show you here. That's why I shared a little bit earlier with Quadasha and Quadash. There's the translation flaws. That's why it's even, you heard this term before, lost in translation. Because there's no language, ancient text of any language that can be ported over to another language without losing some things along the way and having errors along the way. And this is here. I'm going to prove it here, right? So is this a true statement? Is this a true statement? So let's look up the word Qadesh, right? Some of you guys will say Kadesh, but let's look it up. Look at what it says here. It says, A sacred person, an example, technically a male devotee by prostitution. You see sodomite, but it tells you to go to this word right here. And this word that it's telling you to go to is quadash. So how did they take a holy word and make it into a word that means prostitution? Ancient Hebrew didn't have these dots. It didn't have all these vowels there. It just had the ah sound. Let me show you guys. Let me walk you guys through this here. Did Baal worship include homosexual acts? And we're going to kill two birds with one stone. Yes, male cult prostitution consisted of homosexuality, ritual activities. So when we go to 1 Kings chapter 14, verse 24, it says here, and there was sodomites, look at this, quadash. You have the word holy being transliterated to sodomites.
Man.
In the land, and they did according to all the abominations of the nations which Yahweh cast out before the children of Israel. Now, family, this is ancient Hebrew right here. There's no dots. There's no dashes. There's no vowel letters. This will be pronounced as quadash. And this is the ancient text of this particular verse.
Pastor, I know you have communications offline with some people about the importance of the language, the holy language, because the confusion is the very essence of Baal. The Baal itself mean confusion, and that's what they're doing. They're corrupting the holy language.
Exactly, and it's confusion by mixing.
Exactly,
that's the key. Confusion by mixing. And that's what the Catholic Church, all these Abrahamic faiths,
yes,
they mastered through the term syncretism to create confusion by what? Mixing and meshing.
And most of us know about the syncretism of the holidays. We know about all this stuff, but we don't know about the mission of the language that keeps us speaking and saying these things that we don't know where they come from, because we won't study to show our self-approval.
Exactly. And so you see this word quadash. All right. So the so-called word kadesh, right, really is quadash, but this word is masculine, right? So when you use this word quadash, even if you have a mixed assembly, so to speak, this is kind of like the rule of Hebrew. Let's just say if we had men and women inside a teaching, I would have to default to the quadash, the masculine word, right? Now, if I was speaking strictly to women, then I would use quadasha. I hope that makes sense. All right. So this word quadash really is the actual pronunciation of it. It's masculine. Is there a female equivalent? Right? In the Israeli, it's pronounced Kadesha. In the ancient Hebrew, it's Quadasha. Looky here. It has female devotee, but then it also connects it to prostitution, harlot, whore, female temple prostitution. But it's pointing us to this primitive root here. So Quadasha means a female devotee. Quadasha is always used as feminine, right? So just that word right there, family, knocks down this whole notion in believing that the Holy Spirit is feminine. In ancient Hebrew, the actual name of the Holy Spirit is the Spirit of Yahweh or Rawak Yahweh. So it's Yahweh himself. Anyway, so look at what it says here. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, where is the harlot? And you see here Quadashah, that was openly by the wayside. And they said, there was no harlot, Quadashah, in this place. All right. And when you look here, you got Ha, in other words, the Quadashah. We see Quadashah here in two different spaces. All right. So Quadash and Quadashah comes from the permanent root word Quadash. Let me prove that. The 51st book of Psalms, verse 11. Take not thy what? Holy Quadash, Rawak spirit from me. Okay. And you see it here, Rawak Quadash. So Rawak Quadash, Holy Spirit, or the spirit that is holy. But this is the permanent root word that both of those words point to. Look at what it means: clean, consecrate, dedicate, right? Keep, proclaim, purify, sanctify. So how is this made into sodomy? How is it made into prostitution? Even though we already have a word for that. So Israel's holy men and women, they was not just prostituting. I mean, they was not prostituting for money. Man, I got to go back and clean this up. They were not prostituting for money, but performing sexual rituals to please their so-called fertility deity, Baal and Asherah. Did Baal worship include pedophilia? Absolutely.
Yes.
Hosea chapter 4 that we just read earlier, verse 13 and 14, this is the key, right? When you see here, therefore your daughters shall commit, right? Let's break this down real quick. So through child sexual exploitation, through fertility rights is what they were doing. They was raping and sodomizing and all this stuff to children. So Canaanite temple rituals use young boys and young girls for sexual rituals. So before they sacrificed them, they would do all kinds of crazy sexual perversions on them before they passed them through the fire. So ancient Near East, Eastern inscriptions and archaeological studies support the following. Children were sometimes dedicated to the temple prostitution. Ritual defloration rites existed. And right in the church, the Catholic Church, they call it the fallen angel rites.
Wow.
For pedophilia. I could pull that up here. Let me pull it up real quick.
And they're trying their best to pass a law in this country to allow that to happen. These people.
Yep. Change the age of consent.
Uh-huh.
And technically, they already have it legal in this country.
They do, but they want to actually make it a actual law. law.
Where is it?
And to go back on what you was talking about earlier, Pastor, if anyone in the chat have listened to the news, you see how certain podcasters and people have been trying to talk circles around the victims of the Epstein perpetrators, talking about, well, 15, 17 barely legal, this
14.
this change. Yeah, it's like it's not it's almost the same thing we heard when we played the video when they're reading out a certain text from certain people, age 3, and it's perverted.
Yeah, Congressman Marjorie Green has announced today that she's stepping down and leaving the Congress behind this situation with the 14-year-old in
Oh,
the lawsuit, and that she cannot stand with any party that promotes this.
Mm.
didn't hear that one.
Yeah, it came out tonight.
Wow.
She's stepping down from Congress? Or she just
Yes,
stepped
as of January 2026, she will no longer be a congressman. She's leaving all of it. She's not dealing with Republicans or Democrats. She denounced all of Congress.
Yeah, I have to peep that one out. Oh, I found it here. Let me show you guys this here. Let me copy this over. That means she got something up her sleeve, though.
I was
Yes,
saying the same thing.
that
Yeah,
exactly, and
yeah.
they
That means
threatened her.
she can really spill the beans.
Yep, and I think they're threatening her too, which is
Yep,
very obvious.
Spill a bean and
yep.
then run herself.
Let's see here. Because she's a millionaire. She was a millionaire before she even went into Congress.
Yes, she is.
All right, let's see here. What slide am I on so I can put it in the right one? I'll put it right here.
And just said again, I already dropped the link for that PDF for anybody looking for it. And if you haven't seen it, I'm going to drop it again so you can download your own version of the PDF and see some of the things we've been talking about.
All right, let's see here. All right. So this is from this the source here, the keys of blood of this blood. All right. And this person, Malachi Martin, he just really blew this whole thing open, the Catholic Christian Church open. But what stood out when I was reading this book a while back is here, and it's dealing with the different ceremonies and rituals that they have, even when they're announcing a new pope. But look at what it says here. It says, "Indeed, Paul had alluded somberly to the smoke of Satan, which has entered the sanctuary, an oblique reference to an enthronement ceremony by Satanists in the Vatican. Besides the incidents of satanic pedophilia, rites, and practices, was already documented among certain bishops and priests as widely dispersed in Turin, in Italy, and South Carolina in the United States. The cultic acts of satanic pedophilia are considered by professionals to be the culmination of the fallen archangel rites."
Wow.
Well, think about their ritual when they get a new pope. All those things are done.
We're talking about the actual head of the Universal Church, the mother church of all churches, Christendom itself. Wow.
The mother of harlots.
So this is not family, because when we think about a lot of times when we think about pedophilia, when we like to like our minds that go to like they're 14, 15-year-olds.
Right. They're babies.
Even how what's her name tried to downplay it. What's her name? Megyn Kelly.
Megyn Kelly, yeah.
Tried to defend Jeffrey Epstein by trying to downplay the ages of these girls.
Right.
Like, saying, basically alluding that 14 and 15 is no big deal.
Okay. They're adults because most girls get their menstruation around that age anyway. So that's once that happens, you are quote unquote considered an adult female.
And it actually came out of her mouth because they looked like they were 18. It was okay.
Yes.
Exactly. And so when I really did a lot of reading on that whole thing, the whole goal was the reason why they targeted them is because they still look like kids.
Correct.
Sick, man. So child sacrifice often involved ritual abuse, sexual abuse. Before sacrifice, children were ritually dedicated, sometimes abused sexually as part of fertility symbolism, then burned, then sacrificed to Baal, sacrificed to Molech. So let's deal with this Moabite homosexual king because you saw the name Eglon. And some of you guys may not know that Eglon was a homosexual king. I don't know if you remember me doing a teaching on this, Sister Carol.
Yeah, I remember.
When I was going through the book of Judges. The Moabite homosexual king, let's deal with this Moabite homosexual king and worship of Baal. Look at this here. Judges chapter 3, verse 12 through 14. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of Yahweh, and Yahweh strengthened Eglon, the king of Moab, against Israel, because they had done evil in the sight of Yahweh. And he gathered unto him the children of Ammon and Amalek. So it's you see Moab, right? And you know Moab is the children of Lot by way of his daughter. And then when you see Ammon, that's still dealing with Lot's children that was born through incest. And then we see Amalek. Well, Amalek, that is descendants of Esau. So here it is. Through this king, he gathered Ammon, Amalek, and went and smote Israel. So here it is. He had his the different groups that he was in alliance with, confederate with, had an allegiance going on here. They was in covenant and went and smote Israel and possessed the city of palms. When we just talked about the palm tree?
Yep.
In the city of palms?
Yep.
So this king took possession of that. So the children of Israel served Eglon, the king of Moab, 18 years. So a key quote here again, went and smote Israel and possessed the city of the palm trees. So was King Eglon a homosexual king? Let's talk about him, family. So Moab, right? When you understand the Moabites, all through the scripture, they always oppressed Israel. But look at what we brought up. One of the perverted things that they did. They seduced the men.
Right. And remember now, what is their lineage? What are they birthed from out of?
Again, incest.
Yeah, exactly. So that demon seed is already there. They're just practicing out upon us, upon their own cousins.
And let me be clear here, because I know some people will post, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful here, but some will post and say that the Moabites are the Chinese.
Oh.
Family, go deeper in your studies. Go deeper in your studies.
So he left being white, now he's Chinese. Okay. That's a new one.
The Moabites, the Ammonites, they were all Hebrews.
Exactly.
They were dark melanated people.
Wow.
Israel is forced into serving Moab. This was a judgment because Israel sinned with Baal Peor. Remember what we covered in Numbers chapter 25. But they continue to go back to this thing. You know what I mean? They didn't get enough. They was addicted. The Moabites were worshippers of Baal Peor, as we highlighted. Eglon, the king of the Moab king, guess what? He presided over Baal Peor worship. These are some of the things that he did. So when we go to Judges chapter 3, verse 17 through 21, this is key right here. And he brought with present, and this is dealing with Ehud. And he brought the present unto Eglon, king of Moab. And Eglon was it said he was a very fat man. And when you start understanding, I can't remember the name of the tribe, where the men purposely look like they're pregnant. Remember, Sister Carol, I showed a video on that?
Right.
Showing how they make their bellies get so big.
Yep.
They look like they're pregnant.
Correct.
And it's honorable in that tribe. I think it's the Boba. Anyway, I don't have my hard drive here to pull up the video, but I think it's the Boba tribe, if I remember correctly. But anyway, he brought the present unto Eglon, king of Moab, and Eglon was a very fat man. And when he had made an end to offer the present, he sent away the people that bear the present. Now, peep this out. But he himself turned again from the quarries that were by Gilgal and said, I have a secret errand unto thee, O king. And who said, keep silence. And all that stood by him went out from him. And Ehud came unto him, and he was sitting in the summer parlor. So this king, he was thinking that he was about to get busy with Ehud.
Crazy.
Yeah, family, it's in the scriptures.
Wow.
This king, when you really dive into this, he always kept men around him. So when it says he was sitting in the summer parlor, you know, he's sitting in a special place.
Sounds like some of these mega church pastors.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I'm envisioning right now.
This was his upper room right here.
Uh-huh.
The upper room.
Upper room.
I knew you'd go there.
With Jesus.
Sister Kara had to put the extra one there.
Jesus.
So, and Ehud came unto him, and he was sitting in a summer parlor, which he had for himself alone. And Ehud said, I have a message from Elohim unto thee. And he arose out of his seat. And Ehud put forth his left hand and took the dagger from his right thigh and thrust it into his belly. And the haft also went in after the blade, and the fat closed upon the blade, so that he could not draw the dagger out of his belly. It made me think of I can't even say his name from
I know you from Austin Power. I went the same place.
Right? Yeah.
I
can't even say his name. Get in my belly. It said that he was so big that it swallowed
the knife. The dagger.
Dang.
And you know, then we're not talking about a little 007.
Not no Jabba the Hutt.
So it says, so he could not draw the dagger out of his belly, and the dirt came out. So when you understand his family, it's a lot to unpack here.
You go see Doctor now.
So let me give you a little nugget here. Key attributes of Ehud. Actually, it's should be verse 15. This is wrong right here. I didn't correct that. It's verse 15. Look at what it says here. But when the children of Israel cried unto Yahweh, Yahweh raised them up a deliverer, Ehud, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, a man left-handed. And by him the children of Israel sent a present unto Eglon, the king of Moab. That's something to think about, right? It's like, whoa, what's the significance of what I just read? Well, what's the significance about Ehud being a Benjamite and also being left-handed? Well, Ben Yamayan, the first part of it is son, plus the word Aman, which means right hand. Go to the right hand. So Benjamin's name means, when you understand Aman, it makes it clear that he understands going to what? The right hand. Who sits at the right hand of the Father?
Yep.
Even as a man, what hand do you use to shake with?
Right
I don't know
hand.
what they do nowadays, man. It's your right hand. Whenever you close out a deal, what hand do you use? Your right hand. What
One
is the
hand.
significance about Ehud being a Benjamite and left-handed? Well, let's go to Judges chapter 19, verse 22, and you'll see how I'm tying all of this together. Now, as they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain sons of Belial, beset the house round about and beat at the door and spake to the master of the house, the old man, saying, bring forth the man that came into thine house that we may know him. So, family, what you see here, this is a similar story, a similar incident to Lot and the angels. Because when Lot entertained the angels, came to his house, the men of the city that were homosexuals, they were bamming at the door saying, hey, we saw some men go up in here. And said, hey, bring those men out here. And Lot was like, hey, I got my 2 daughters. They never been with a man. He threw his own daughters under the bus. And the angels had to say, get your crazy Negro self back in here.
They didn't even want them. They still wanted the angels.
Yeah, they was like,
crazy.
The angels had to say, get your $5 self. We're about to go Wesley Snipes.
No, you did not.
I
Had to
make
tell him,
change.
y'all know how they would talk to us back in the day. Get your black behind back in it, Anyway, so the angels had to say, pull Lot back in that, like, man, get in here. And the angels handled the situation, and they blinded the men.
It's crazy.
This right here will show you just how crooked Israel had become, because number one, the Levitical priests here married someone, a concubine woman, who were basically a flesh to someone else, and made her his wife. Sound like the song "Made a Prostitute." Anyway, let me
there you go.
So he made her his wife. And when you really read the scriptures, the text, you'll see that he was very, very, very abusive to her. He was verbally abusive to her, because after 4 months of her leaving him, it said that he went to go see, he started seeking her out so he could speak nice to her. So that tells you he was very abusive to her verbally. But fast forward, he is traveling back after going to see her at her father's house, right? So they're on their way back. They're returning back to his home. He's bringing her back home. And it was getting dark. I believe the area was Bethlehem. I can't remember the name, but yeah, it's right here. It's Bethlehem, Judah, right? So but it was a territory that gets very, very bad at night, right? And so they were out at the main area, and an old guy saw them and said, hey guys, y'all need to come over to my house. I'll take care of you guys. I'll take care of your horses. I'll do all of that. But you don't need to be out in the streets at night. And y'all know they're in the hood, right? You
That
know they talking about our
like the
neighborhood.
neighborhood, yeah.
That
I was
sound
getting
like
ready to
the
say,
street lights are getting ready to come
That
on. Y'all
sound
need
like
to
the
get
neighborhood.
in. Y'all need to
no. How about who didn't he said what come out at night? Please
Yeah,
come out. Yeah,
exactly.
get on in the house. Yeah.
Remember when all of us had to be, do you see those street lights?
That's right. Get
You
in before the
supposed to
street
be
lights come
in the
on.
house when they come on, not
That's
on your
right.
way home. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? So the old man was like, hey, it's about to get ugly at night. It gets ugly. It's dangerous.
That's
So we
right.
come over to my house
Right.
because I don't want nothing to happen to you. Well, he and his wife went over to his house, and guess what? Some men that they, as you see here, certain sons of Belial got wind of them being at the house.
Here they come.
So they like, hey, look at what it says here. It says certain sons of Belial. So it says certain sons of Belial, certain sons, certain men of this community heard about it. It said, beset the house round about and beat at the door and spake to the master of the house, the old man saying, bring forth the man that came into thine house that we may know him. Family.
Wow.
They're saying they want to get busy with him.
Mm-hmm. Big old freaks.
So 2 words, right? You have yada or yada'a, and you have nada'a. These are 2 words that transliterates to know, right? So I'm not going to go through all of this, family, but you get for you guys to understand when you see yada or nada'a, especially when we get the yada'a, it means intimacy, right? You'll see where it says in chapter 3, Adam knew Eve. That's dealing with a intimacy. That means that he's consummated his marriage there, further proving that Hasatan is not the father of Cain, as many have taught, some would teach. All right, but anyway, so let's look at yada real quick. It says to know, recognition, acknowledge. All right, so it really doesn't give us a lot when it comes to the sexual aspect, but when we look at the etymological dictionary definition of this word, the key is right here where it says to have sexual intercourse with. Okay, so homosexuals, right, surrounded the house of this old man, pounding on the door and shouting for sex. They were like, hey, shouting, saying that they want to have sex. And the word that you see there inside the actual text is nada'a, not yada. So when you actually read this ancient Hebrew, and go to the ancient Hebrew, you'll see it's not these default words that you see today. I came across a lot of words that they modified. But in this text, it's not yada, it's actually nada or nada'a. And guess what, family? That's part of our slang. Many of us say yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Also, nada. Man, you get nada. You get nada. Now I'm going a little Jersey. Have you guys
that was my favorite term to say.
You get
Nada.
nada. And we using it in what? The proper context. We got Hebrew all in our slang.
You don't realize it.
Have you got, you said it before, Sister Carol, nada? Did you say it before, Berean Scholar?
Oh, yeah. That was my favorite term.
And didn't know what we were saying.
Didn't even know what you're saying. You either say yada, yada, yada. Like when you're talking,
Language is
yada, yada,
important.
yada.
Language is important.
And then if somebody say, hey, don't I know you? No, you don't know me. Right? Come on now. Is that the proper context?
Right.
But here you have nada or nada'a. Right? So they're shouting nada'a. They shouting. The old man pounding, they're pounding on the door and shouting for sex with the Levite sons, the Levitical sons of these homosexuals. Not Levitical, but these sons of Baal. They're pounding on the door at the Levite priest. And this typo, I got to correct it here, but they banging on the door saying, "Hey, send us your Why? Send us the men.
Yep.
Come on out here. We want you. He telling the old man, we want him.
It's crazy.
So look at the definition of the word Baal. So to make sure you guys understand, Baal is not a tribe. Look at what it means. Worthlessness. So you had a group of worthless knuckleheads. Doesn't that sound like a lot in our community?
Yes.
Yep.
You got a lot of worthless knuckleheads, not just knuckleheads, because Baal is not just with men, it's women
Right.
too.
Exactly.
Remember, what's her name? Hannah had to say to Eli that, "Hey, I'm not a woman of Belial. I'm not a woman of Belial. I'm not a daughter of Belial." So it means worthless, destruction, wickedness, evil, naughty, ungodly. You also see men, but it also refers to women too. Wicked. And then when we go to the Encyclopedia of Demons and Demonology, when we look at the definition of this name, it says here, evil demons, who is deceptively beautiful in appearance, right? But it goes on to say, but full of treachery, reckless, and lies. The 68 of the 72 spirits of Solomon, that's a whole nother discussion. Belial is dedicated to creating wickedness and guilt in humankind, especially in the form of sexual perversions, fornication, right? And lust. And it goes on to say, St. Paul considered him to be the chief demon, but it goes on to say Belial's name may be derived from the Hebrew term Belai, Ya'al, which means without worth. In Hebrew lore, Belial was the next angel created after Lucifer and was partly of the order of angels. But the key, family, it says here, worthlessness, recklessness.
Right.
But again, let's go back here. Perversions, fornication. But part of that perversion is homosexuality, bestiality, sodomy, pedophilia, pederasty, all of these things. So the sons of Belial, guess what? They, it means destruction. It means wickedness. But these were some good for nothing, worthless knuckleheads causing problems.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Trifling.
what is the significance about Ehud being a Benjamite and left-handed? Well, let's go to a chapter over. Now, when you unpack this family, I'm kind of just giving you the top level of this. This wicked Levitical priest operated in charms to provoke the other tribes to respond. He chopped her body up. And then he scattered her, gave each piece of her body to each tribe, to provoke them into what? Fighting, defending what happened. Now, I'm pretty confident that he didn't tell the full story. That he threw his own wife out there, like, hey, take my wife. Actually, the old guy said, hey, you can have my daughter and his concubine wife.
Crazy.
And because of the anger by not having the man, because they really wanted the man, so they took all of their anger out on his wife. They raped her. They did her so bad that she died from the trauma. He opened the door. This is how insensitive, this is how wicked this Levitical priest was, sounding like many in our community, right? It was so wicked that when he opened the door, he slept. He went to sleep. He slept good. He got up like nothing ain't happened. Went to the door. He opened the door, and she fell through the door, died. And guess what he said to her? Get up.
But what they did after the fact was just the sick part.
Yeah, he told her that when she fell through the door, he said, get up. But she had died.
Yep.
Now he wants to all of a sudden, after all of that, get revenge. So he cuts up her body.
Exactly. That
to really stir up the other tribes to basically have them come out and defend the situation. So this is where we get to Judges chapter 20, verse 15, and this is what it says. And the children of Benjamin were numbered at that time out of the cities 26,000 men drew swords, besides the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men. Among all this people, they were 700 chosen men left-handed. Everyone could sling stones at an hair breadth and could not miss. So they were skilled, but they said some of these men were left-handed. And the men of Israel, besides Benjamin, were numbered 400,000 men. So you had this handful of men giving the business to all of this huge army. Not once, they did it twice. So the tribe of Benjamin army consisted of 26,000 swordsmen. Their special forces consisted of 700 elite soldiers, 700 chosen men that was left-handed. Right? And when we go to the word left-handed, and this is what's interesting about this word, it says shut up, impeded.
Crazy.
Right? So when we look here, shut up, impeded, left hand, all right? And it tells us to go to the primitive root. It says to close, close up, shut, bind, close one's mouth. All right? But pretty interesting. And then, I already shared with you the primitive root word, which I just read. So 700 of the left-handed soldiers were sling marksmen, right? They could sling at a hair and not miss, according to the scriptures. A rock slung from a sling could fly through the air close to 100 miles per hour. These
That's a
sling
bullet.
marksmen, exactly, that's a bullet. These sling marksmen, they were a unit of, they was special forces. So when you think about this, right, Ehud, a left-handed Benjamite, and when you understand the symbolism in this text, refers to outside the norm, and in Hebrew, left-handers were often associated with deviation, in many cases perversion. Scripture often equates overthrowing Baal worship with exposing sexual sin. So Ehud was chosen to do what? Take out the homosexual king. But from the homosexual king perspective, he viewed Ehud as an opportunity, as thinking that Ehud was a homosexual. Come on, guys.
Wow.
Can we make it any plainer than that?
No.
That's why he had a special place for Ehud to come and spend time with him. And Ehud, it says he took it with his left hand. He took the knife from his right side, his right leg or whatever, but from the right side. So the king was so caught up. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a lot.
A lot to unpack, right?
That's a lot. But it's real.
Well,
it's so
and
real.
You had a person in the chat asking if it was the left-handedness still considered illness.
What's that? I'm sorry.
If the being left-handed still considered to be illness, or whatever.
No, but in many cases, I'm just using it as an example because guess what? I was
Right.
left-handed. I'm not sick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I was forced to, when I came up, right? We had to, if you were left-handed, they forced you to write with your right hand
Correct.
because remember how the classroom, whatever thing
Uh-huh.
with the classroom. So my wife is left-handed. My sister's
And that's
left-handed. My father's left-handed.
and that's another episode just for us not just to sit and listen to teaching, to take these scriptures and go back and read ourselves, because when you was talking about it, about the king, I went back and read with you while you were saying it, because I said, man, I don't remember reading them like that. I said, oh, okay, I see this now, because that allowed the spirit to open it up for you.
And interesting enough, many times we went through these chapters and scriptures in church. It was never these pastors never went into depth of what that was really was going on in those chapters.
Right, sir.
They never touched upon it. They never opened that door. They never talked about it like that in the middle in the sanctuary. And they come to the congregation.
I'm about to quote from brother Youssef, man. I just can't sit back and listen to Pastor Pochop anymore. I got to
Uh-huh.
read things for myself.
Exactly.
And the one point I want to make sure we connect the dots, family, those sons of Belial, they were Benjamites.
Mm-hmm.
They were homosexual Benjamites.
That's right. Israelites.
Exactly.
I kept seeing someone in the chat kept saying, but these were Israelites. Yes.
Yeah, they were
Israelites.
Israelites.
Negroes. Bunch of
All we're dealing
Negroes.
with is primarily Israelites.
Yeah. Negroes.
Guess what? The Levitical priest, the crooked Levitical priest, was an Israelite.
They're
That's right.
Israelites. Yep.
We're dealing with Israelites here.
The
Crooked
the
Levitical
one
priest.
the
And we
ones
still
that
dealing and we still dealing with them.
Yeah.
the ones that Phineas had to kill with a spear, they were Israelites.
They were Israelites. Exactly. So we're dealing with Israelites here, family.
Following the
Our
worship
ancestors
of
they were off the chain.
Mm-hmm.
And it really sounds a lot of pretty parallel to what we see
what we're doing
happening.
now.
Because I saw something so crazy that made me think about this story here. I'm not sure if you guys heard about it. It was a couple of days ago. It happened about 3 or 4 days ago in Chicago.
About the
A
woman,
mother and her
her daughter,
child,
going walking
because
walking to
it
school.
was a daughter and son.
Yep.
They didn't hit the daughter, but they beat
Right.
the mother up and son. It was
And
these
she was
young
pregnant.
kids.
Right.
Couldn't have been no more. They said about 8 or 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Whole pack of them beat her up, and she suffers from multiple sclerosis.
Yes. And she
Come
was
on,
pregnant.
family.
And she was pregnant too.
So I didn't know she was pregnant,
Yeah.
but yeah, and they jumped her and her son,
Yep.
and it was sad, man. You see the bruises all of her face is swelled up, her lips swelled up.
Yep. They arrested us children.
And how did we get
Oh,
here?
it's sickle cell. Okay, I thought it was multiple sclerosis. I mean sickle
That
cell.
was sickle
My
cell.
apologies.
Yeah.
All right.
But
So go ahead,
but how we get here? How we get here? Just going back to the subject matter of this lesson, the cult of Baal that been so indoctrinated in us as a people. We're doing the same thing that our ancestors did. Those people we just said, those homosexuals, those cricket priests and stuff, we're giving into the tradition of men and worship of Baal, because we don't know. We haven't studied to show ourselves approval. We haven't looked into the ancient texts and seen what we need to be doing to worship the Most High.
Absolutely, you hit it right on the nail. You hit it right on the nail. And family, this is where the lesson transitions over to make the connection with um, Epstein. But before I get to Epstein, even though I'm not going to do it tonight, I have to walk you through the Arabic slave trade and the transatlantic world war, so you could really understand from uh, the perversions of dealing with excuse me, I'm clear my throat, but Eglon to Epstein and to Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You had a homosexual king. You had a perverted, very perverted uh, guy that was a spy, and you have the current commander in chief who got exposed to doing some inappropriate things with somebody by the name of Bubba.
Yep.
I gotta say, Bubba. Anyway, make me think about
Okay,
Forrest Gump.
Forrest. We're doing all kind of movies tonight.
Wow.
You know, see if I
You
was putting
know,
my clips together right, I was gonna actually put Forrest Gump in there. I gotta say, Bubba.
Bubba.
we got to do it. This is so heavy. We have to keep it light.
Got to. It's some nasty work we're talking about tonight. Ugh.
Our people.
Mm-mm-mm. And we still nasty.
And so, family, this term right here, the transpartisan elite class. This is what you see happening in the government.
Yep.
This is the term. This is the phrase that the label, because it's on both sides. It's not just the Democrats, it's the Republicans. All of them are in cahoots protecting that
Mm-hmm.
secret.
Yep.
All of them.
Yep.
Now, the reason why Trump is the one that's getting the full whiff of it is because he ran on releasing it.
Exactly.
If he would have kept his mouth shut, this wouldn't even
Mm-hmm.
be a conversation.
Nope. And now he's stuck.
So, yeah, you could, because some would say, well, Biden had opportunity. Biden kept his mouth shut.
Exactly. He stayed on code.
He stayed on code according
Stayed
to
on
them.
code. That's
Remember, the
right.
transpartisan elite class.
Correct.
Trump broke code.
Yep.
And he ran on this.
And they all stepped away from him. You go on with yourself.
Yeah. So that's why it's a big deal.
Yep.
But to go with the plan that he's doing now, when Biden was in office, investigation was still going on.
Mm-hmm.
But when Trump got in office, he had his AD close the investigation in July.
Right.
Exactly. And
Then
also gave him a sweet deal.
Correct.
exactly. And said there was
Gave, I
nothing
mean, he
there, it's
gave he
all a
gave him a
hoax.
deal. So when you
Yep.
start unpacking this, family, we're gonna unpack this in part 2. Because we're gonna
No
continue to make
problem.
the connections. The reason why I mentioned the transatlantic world war and also the Arabic, because you still see the cult of Baal. All what we talked about that went on. That's the thing that you don't hear many touching on, is the sexual perversions, the rituals that they were performing on our people. They weren't
Right.
just raping the women, they were raping the men, the women, they was raping the children, they was doing all these, doing crazy things, and it was legal. They was raping babies.
And
There's a book.
that's
Oh, go ahead, sis.
I was gonna say, and that's why they wrote their own Torah that covers all this perverted Babylonian things that's being done, which is the worship by all. That's all. That whole entire Talmud is what it is.
The oral text.
Of it's Baal worship.
Exactly.
And what is the name of the Talmud that they use? The Babylonian Talmud.
Yes.
It's right. They put it right in your face. It's called the Babylonian Talmud.
And it's substantiated.
You want to make me pull it up? Let me pull it up, family, because
Pull it
now that
up.
we mention something, you know how it goes. The rule of thumb is if we mention it, we got to present it.
Yeah, use their sources.
That's right.
Let me see here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Sanhedrin. and we'll use this to be our final thing that we bring out here. Let's see here.
While Pastor is looking for that, guys, make sure you go back and click the like, get the likes up so we can make sure this is going past the gatekeepers that are trying to keep this truth from going out. Get the likes and make sure you comment on this now and after the close of this live. Thank you.
Let's see here. Wicked, man. Straight wicked.
With a capital W. Nastiness.
I bet you
Worse
many
than my
people
buddy Godfrey.
who
Go ahead.
I bet you many people didn't know all this was in the scriptures.
Shoot, there's some nasty stuff in the scriptures, let me tell you. Straight nasty.
Let me see here. I went to the wrong one. Let me pull it up here. All right, let's see here. I'm telling you, these people, man. Where is it? I think it's in this one right here. All right.
Oh, Sister Ask My Soul, the Prosper said that every time they open up the Talmud, they play Montel. This is how we do it.
Man, shoot. He playing more than that, man.
I say, no, that ain't the song. Nah, nowhere near it.
But they have a culture, a method, and it corrupts everything they touch.
Yeah. Where is it? Oh, it's in this one. I had to look for it. Man, let me see here. It covers so much, man. I tell you. All right, let's see here. Sanhedrin. All right, come on. I know it's in this one. I'm spelling it wrong. That's what it is.
I hope everybody taking that. If anybody came in on new, since while he's watching, while he's looking, please download the PDF so you'll be along with this study. And if you don't, put a 1 and we'll put it back in again if you haven't got it yet. But make sure you download it and check it out for yourself.
All right, it may be in this Halloween one. Let me check it real quick.
And what's so interesting about all this, you can feel the sexual perversion in the air right now. Every time this time of season comes around, right when in October, Halloween get ready to come in, you feel the intensity of this wickedness getting ready to start and the sexual perversions are getting ready to unroll. And everybody becomes engulfed in it. That spirit in the air.
And the program is deep, sis. The program is deep because anything you watching on TV, they're pushing that agenda.
Yeah.
All these agendas we just talked about tonight. It's not one program you see they're not gonna put the homosexual agenda or all the stuff we talked about tonight. Try
Because
not
the
to say
Christians
anything for the
because the Christians have accepted it now. That's why. So it's part of the normal way of life. They normalized it inside your head, inside the children's mind.
And I know that brother Bernard said that in jest, but when he said it hit me so much. It's just like Superman. They knew if they could separate us from the Most High, they take away our power.
Yep.
So all this corruption, they indoctrinate us since we've been here. So we're seeing it, we're reading it. Even when we read the scripture, because they translated the words wrong, which keeps us separated from the Most High, separated from our power, separated from walking into the might that He called us to be. But thank the Most High that this teaching like this to help us get back.
Yep.
All right, and I'm gonna pull it up here. Let me close this up. All right, let me see here. Lot to unpack, family. Lot to unpack.
It is.
Lot to unpack. Let's see here. All right. All right. Pedophilia. Sanhedrin 54b. In the case of a male child, a young one is not regarded as on a par with an old one, but a young beast is treated as an old one. What is this meant? Or what is meant by this, excuse me? Rabbi said, pederasty with a child below 9 years of age is not deemed as pederasty with a child above that. Samuel said, pederasty with a child below 3 years is not treated as with a child above that. What is the basis of their dispute? Rabbi maintains that only he that is able to engage in sexual intercourse may as the passive subject of pederasty. In other words, throw guilt upon the active offender, whilst he who is unable to engage in sexual intercourse cannot be a passive subject, right? But then we go to the footnotes here to get clarity. The reference is to the passive subject of sodomy. As stated in Super 54a, guilt is incurred by the active participant, even if the former be a minor, an example, less than 13 years old. However, it is stated that within the age of a distinction is drawn. That's the key. It's like age of distinction. Well, what is the age of distinction? And this is in the additional footnotes 24 and also 25. An example Rob makes 9 years the minimum. But if one commits sodomy with a child of lesser age, no guilt is incurred. Samuel makes 3 the minimum. So it's saying if it's 9 years is the minimum, that's the age of consent, so to speak. But even then it says if it's lesser than that, what they're saying is that child is in a state that it can't, basically don't know what it's doing.
Right. So it don't
So there's
matter.
no guilt because the
Right.
child don't know what it's doing.
It's going on. Right.
And look at here, at 9 years, a male attains sexual matureness. And then when you look at footnote 26, and it gives Leviticus, and Leviticus doesn't make reference to this craziness.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, the point of comparison is the sexual matureness of a woman, which is reached at the age of 3.
Mm-hmm.
So saying the age of consent for a woman is 3. The age of consent for a boy is 9.
9. Mm-hmm. And they also, I don't know where it's located, in whichever the book states that they can have sex with any goyim.
Oh yeah. I don't have it in
And
this one.
it doesn't mean anything because we're not considered human.
Exactly. That's dealing with marriage.
Right.
That if someone has committed adultery,
right,
as long as they don't commit adultery with another so-called 1948er, then it's
That's
not an
good.
issue.
Right.
And
And
this
they
is
can,
the
and they can,
Talmud.
and they can kill us too as well. And
Yeah.
Negorium, because we're nothing but less. We're not human.
This is the Talmud,
Now,
not the Torah. This is the Talmud, not the Torah.
exactly. Now look at
They're
this here,
so-called
family.
right.
This is going even further. This is come from the Ketubah 11b, and we got brothers and sisters in this awakening teaching foolishness, saying that these guys preserved our heritage.
Yes. Yes. I heard that too.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So it says a small boy who has intercourse with a grown-up woman makes her as though she were injured by a piece of wood. When I said it before Samuel, he said injured by a piece of wood does not apply to flesh. Some teach this teaching by itself as to a small boy who has intercourse with a grown-up woman. When a grown-up man has had intercourse with a little girl, or when a small boy has intercourse with a grown-up woman, or when a girl was accidentally injured by a piece of wood, in all these cases, it means this: when a grown-up man has intercourse with a little girl, it is nothing. For when the girl is less than this, in other words, that age of consent, 3, it is as if one puts a finger into the eye. But when a small boy has intercourse with a grown up woman, he makes her as a girl who is injured by a piece of wood. So what it's saying is, it's like making this equivalent to getting a splinter.
Right.
That hey, this grown man molest a kid, or this grown woman molest a kid. Well, it's no big deal. It's just like getting a splinter.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the footnotes, family.
I'm reading
Although
the
the
text.
intercourse, or real quick, and I'll turn it over
Go
to
ahead.
you, Marine Scholar. It says, although the intercourse of a small boy is not regarded as a sexual act, nevertheless, the woman is injured by it as by a piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Look at here. Age of consent, less than 3 years old. Tears come to the eye again, and again, so does virginity come back to the little girl under 3 years old. And this is tying into, as Berean Scholar pointed out, Baal. And Sister Carol, I think you mentioned it as well. And
Yes.
again, they call it the Babylonian Talmud.
That's right. Their so-called Torah.
And remember, Babylonian, Babal, means confusion by mixing.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's right. So when you hear
Go
them
ahead,
say,
Berean. Oh, go ahead, Sister Carol. Then Berean, you got the floor.
so when you hear these people say their Torah, according to Torah, this is what they're referring to, this book. Not the Holy Bible. This book. That garbage we've got to reading. That sick satanic crap they have written in that book.
And it just goes to say, like you said, the Baal is confusion, and all this stuff is deeply rooted in every one of these, the Abrahamic religion, and all this stuff, all those sick. All we know, listen to the news report. All the cases are happening in the Catholic Church. What they're doing, all the other things we've seen from all the films that Pastor Richard have diligently showed us what's happening in other places. I mean, I could call it names out, but in our own society, is permeated with this, because that is the beast system, because it's all over. And it's there to keep it and corrupt us. That's why the Most High tells us to come out and don't drink from that wine. It said that Hasatan would deceive the whole world, and that's what they're doing.
And he has. Did a great job with it.
Family, this is what's going on right now. It all points to this It's perversions.
Yes.
And we have to really itemize it when we say perversions. Because even saying perversions, when you used to say it back in the day, that was like a red flag. Now you say perversions, it's like, okay, what's perverted? You know what I mean? So
Right.
you have to actually define it now. When we say perversions, this dealing with uh, pedophilia, pederasty. This is dealing with sodomizing. You know, all those different, whatever you could think of, all of that is right here. That's that Baal worship. So that's why I want to make sure you guys understand. Even when we deal with child sacrifice, part of the ritual was they molest that child before they pass it through the fire to Baal. That's, I mean, straight wicked, man.
I often wondered when the Messiah was sacrificed and lynched, was it to stop this behavior? That is to be the ultimate thing that needs to be done. If you love me and you want to keep my commandments, I'm going to sacrifice my son to keep you from doing this sick satanic worship of of burning human flesh, children, whatever, unto these gods, unto me, if you call yourself get it to me, and just worship me.
Well, it's what he did was he gave us a way of escape,
Right.
right?
Yes.
So by him being the, because normally it would be what the rituals of the animal sacrificing,
Correct. Right.
right? But the problem was the Levitical priests were crooked.
Correct.
Remember we just
Exactly.
talked about that, right?
Right.
So the Levitical priests, all the way up to the high priest, they needed offerings for sin,
Correct.
and they had to present sin offerings every year at the Day of Atonement.
Right. Exactly.
So the Messiah, our Messiah, he took all of that
Right.
and gave us a way of escape, right? And but with Scripture though, certain sins, when you behave in that, in those type of areas,
Hmm.
man, that's death.
Right. It negates all anything. It's automatic.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
So when we look at it, even Paul talks about it, that the Messiah, I believe it's in Romans chapter 8, when he said that basically, I'm paraphrasing, he rescued us or saved us from the penalties of sin and death.
Hmm.
So that penalty of sin and death was there from the very beginning. So through his life, let me pull it up here so that way I can give context as well. I like to give scriptures as well. Let me pull it up. I'll read it so that way, family, you guys can, that are listening, uh, you guys can have scripture as well. Yeah.
Romans
So
eight
it
twenty
says
eight.
here, therefore there is no condemnation to them which are in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. To your point, Sister Carol.
Hmm.
For the law of the spirit of life in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach hath made me free from the law of
Hmm.
sin and death.
Hmm.
For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh. Now,
Right.
family, this is dealing with the law of sin and death. This is not dealing with the Ten Commandments and all of that. That's
Correct.
what the church would teach. Like, oh, this is see, it's saying that the honoring the commandments and all that it didn't do anything. No, because if that's the case, did Christ stop people from carrying out these heinous crimes?
That's right.
Because the Catholic Church, that's all they teach, right? Jesus, Jesus,
That's
Jesus.
that's it. Baby Jesus.
Father baby Jesus. And what are they doing? What are they doing to those altar boys?
Yeah.
Come on
All in
now.
the name of who?
Mm.
So
Nasty.
here is
Gotta.
dealing with the flesh.
Gotta.
That's why it says here, Therefore, there is now therefore now no
No
condemnation to them
condemnation.
which are in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, transliterates to Jesus the Christ, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. So the key is through the death, burial, and resurrection. Guess what? We're supposed to what? Not walk after that flesh.
Right.
Because to your point, he took all of that upon himself. So when we look at the cross, tree, whatever those that want to refer to it as, when you look at that, for a split moment in time, that was the first time ever that the father had to what? Separate himself from his own son.
Correct. That's right, Pastor.
To the point that he had to turn his head away from him. So when the Messiah said, Father, forgive them, because these Negroes, they don't know what the world, what they doing here. They have no clue. So had he not done that, by law, the father being what? The redeemer, the next kin, would have been able to take judgment out and wipe out all of us.
Right. Exactly.
So yeah. So that was it was supposed to serve as a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
To say, hey, what's been prophesied in our culture, that hey, he's here. Now, guess what? Let's now shift. We now certain things we let that stuff go. Get out of that flesh.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I point this out, Pastor? Because as you were reading those scriptures, you had to translate Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. You had to translate it because that's part of the confusion of Baal is in the scripture.
Where's the confusion?
And you've been so you served in the military. You've been over across seas, right?
Oh yeah.
What's your name in Korea?
It still called me Kelly.
How
Actually, my nickname Rich.
How about in Bahamas or Mexico?
They still call me Rich. They call me Rich in Japan. They call me Rich in Saudi Arabia. They call me
Germany?
Rich in Bahrain. Bahrain rather. They call me Rich in what's the other one? Not Bahrain. Dhahran. I went there. Also, when I was in Germany, they still call me by my same name.
And everybody else, no matter where you go, names are not translated.
Right. Your name is your name.
Thing on that.
And real quick, shout outs to Eddie True Love. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Family, let's show some love to Eddie True Love. Also, shout outs to the elder in the building. Gave me that great ingredients on bread pudding. She hooked me up. Man, it didn't come out tasting like a biscuit.
Mm-hmm.
Anything I do with bacon, it's like I can't even make peach cobbler. Because if I make a cobbler, it just comes out like a peach biscuit.
That's sad.
So I could cook, but I can't bake. So, but thank you guys for the love and support. Again, let's show some love. Really appreciate you guys for the contributions tonight. And also, again, want to thank you guys for the love and support and getting us over that 100,000 threshold. So I guess what's the goal for next year? Right?
200. I thought it was a 250,000.
Sister Carol tell you we've been on the road doubling every year up
Mm-hmm.
until this past December when they pumped the brakes on it and tried to hinder us. But I didn't think we was going to make it. You heard me say that, right, Sister Carol?
That's
they
right.
had the brakes pumped hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it just the last few months it just surged.
They put you in solitaire.
Yeah. Keep doing it, man.
And then since you said that, Pastor, I'm gonna be a broken record. So thank you guys for liking, sharing, and commenting on these lives. After the lives are going off, comment again so we can break out of these gatekeepers who try to keep the truth from going out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask you guys. I know some of you guys want to be part of our Bible study. I'll shoot me an email and we'll shoot you the Zoom link. All right, because I just don't want to post it here inside the chat, as far as the Zoom, because there's a lot of trolls, and I just don't want to have that uh, inside our Bible study, because that's our ministry. We are brick and mortar ministry. We're not a online ministry. We actually have a location, right? So I just want to make sure that we don't have that social media atmosphere coming into the Bible study.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will shut it down just to protect our ministry. So shoot me an email. Matter of fact, I'll drop my email address, and we'll shoot you a link to our Bible studies. Let me see here. Let's see here. All right. So I posted it inside the chat. So feel free to shoot me an email, everyone that want to connect with us with the ministry. And the whole purpose of that, I know many of you guys don't have an assembly that you're connected to. And just to give you an opportunity so that way you're not out there by yourself, and, uh, you know, connect with us, shoot me an email if you're really serious about connecting to an actual ministry. Um, but anyway, with that being said, all right, guys, I'm gonna start with you, Sister Carol. Any final words that you want to give? We'll pick up on part 2 tomorrow. But any final words you want to give tonight?
Just continue to read. Just read this
Yes.
book. Read this book. Um, there's so much in there that we must learn, relearn, and I mean, just understand it. Get the full context of what's being said. Don't allow other people to infiltrate your brain as you're relearning this stuff to insert other things. Don't bring confusion back into your mind. Don't come into the cult of bow out. Don't bow down to that anymore. And one other thing, if you have children, grandchildren that have not come into this truth yet, and they're still worshiping these holidays that's coming up, let's start breaking that curse. Don't let another generation go into this wickedness. We got to shut it down. We got to shut down Thanksgiving. We got to shut down Christmas. And when
Yeah.
Easter come around, we got to shut down the bunny rabbit too. We got to shut this stuff down. We cannot allow another generation to run through what we went through as children. We got to repent it. We got to bring them out of it. We can't allow it to happen. I'm sorry, we cannot.
And stop using the kids as the excuse. The kids will
Excuse.
follow your
Yeah.
lead.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because
You got to take a
we
stand
never
somewhere.
said what about the kids.
Right.
But that's one of the excuses you hear is, I don't want to deprive my kid. Well,
Exactly.
we
But you are
left all that
depriving them.
stuff alone, and we raised our kids the right way. They
Right.
don't lack for anything.
And you are
But
depriving them because you're feeding them lies. You're keeping them from the truth. You're giving them over to Baal.
yeah,
Exactly right, sis.
You are sacrificing your children to Baal. Point blank.
yeah,
All the discussion we had tonight is about just that, and we are entering to that season of Baal that you're going to bow down to this thing in your house
yeah,
with presence,
yeah,
presence underneath it, giving it thanks
yeah,
for your children.
Mm.
yeah, yeah. And I encourage everyone, if you want to get more information on Christmas and all that, go to the playlist that deals with feast days and holidays. I have a 4-part series about Christmas that goes into the details of how to debunk it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And we have to let go of this stuff. Thanksgiving, we shouldn't be celebrating Thanksgiving. Our Thanksgiving is Passover.
That's right.
Right.
Our
Right.
Thanksgiving is tabernacles.
There you go.
You know, those are Thanksgiving. The Feast of Weeks, those are our Thanksgivings. The Shabbat, that's your weekly Thanksgiving.
That's right.
But we don't need this, the very people that have enslaved us to create their own Thanksgivings. You
And you're
know, for what?
celebrating murder.
Exactly. Celebrating murder.
That's crazy.
And that's
Murder,
what the word
betrayal,
said.
Are you
broken
thankful for that?
promises. You know, every time you turn around, they break in their agreement, which proves to you that many of those pilgrims was from the 1948ers.
Yep.
Oh, I know. I threw a nugget out there. It's part of the Northern and Southern. It was
Yep.
part of the Confederate,
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
part of the Union.
There you go. They came here. They came here a long time ago, and it's because they're Khazarians. That's what they do.
That's what they
They're
do.
warriors. They go all around defeating territory.
And breaking agreements.
There you go.
Breaking agreements. So,
There you go.
Berean Scholar, any final words you want to give, my brother?
Be not conformed to this world, but transformed by the renewance of your mind. Because what Sister Carol said was exactly right. We've been conformed, we've been indoctrinated, we've been brainwashed, but thanks be to the Most High, the truth is here. And once we hear the truth, be transformed by the renewance of mind. It's time for us. Those things we did, we didn't know. We didn't know. We were ignorant. But now that we know, please be transformed and allow your family to hear the same truth. It's up to them to choose what they do after they hear it.
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. With that being said, family, I really appreciate you guys and have a blessed Shabbat. And I pray that if you guys don't have an assembly, go to We Woke Now Extended, because we do our Shabbat messages over there for the ministry. So generally we start the live, I want to say like 12:30. We actually just focus on the message, not the entire service that we present. So if you don't have a place of worship, go to We Woke Now Extended, so that way you can still connect one way or another. Hallelujah. So with that being said, in the words of Yahweh that he gave to Moses in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 to 14, fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today will never have power over you ever again. You will never have to see them again. The Most High will fight for us. But here's the kicker, family. We have to hold our peace. The Hebrew word that's in that text is not shalom. Some of you guys may say shalom, but the Hebrew word is shalom. But that's not what's in the text. The Hebrew word that's there is charash, which means be quiet. Let me say that again. The Hebrew word there is charash, which means be quiet, calculated silence. Can't go back, can't stay here, keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the... Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel. According to